Our government currently is co-opted.
That's for sure.
We know for sure that our government is heavily influenced by special interests. If we could have an artificial intelligence government that has no influence, nothing has influence on it.
What a fascinating idea.
It's possible. And I think it might be the only way where you're going to get completely objective, the absolute most intelligent decision for virtually every problem, every dilemma that we face currently in society.
Would you truly be comfortable handing over like final decision making and say, all right, AI, you got it from here?
No, but I'm not comfortable doing that with anybody.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't.
Right.
I was uncomfortable with the Patriot Act. I'm uncomfortable with
Totally.
Many decisions that are being made. It's just there's so much obvious evidence that decisions that are being made are not being made in the best interest of the overall well of the people. It's being made in the decisions of whatever gigantic corporations that have donated to and whatever the military-industrial complex and pharmaceutical-industrial complex, and then just the money. That's really what we know today, that money has a massive influence on our society and the choices that get made, and the overall good or bad for the population.
Yeah, I have no disagreement at all that the current system is super broken, not working for people, super corrupt, and for sure, like, unbelievably run by money.
Yeah.
And I think there is a way to do a better job than that with AI in some way, but and this might just be like a factor of sitting with the systems all day and watching all of the ways they fail. We got a long way to go.
A long way to go, I'm sure. But when you think of AGI, when you think of the possible future, like where it goes to, do you ever extrapolate? Do you ever like sit and pause and say, well, if this becomes sentient and it has the ability to make better versions of itself, how long before we're literally dealing with a god?
So the way that I think about this is, it used to be that like AGI was this very binary moment. It was before and after. And I think I was totally wrong about that. And the right way to think about it is this continuum of intelligence, this smooth exponential curve, back all the way to that sort of smooth curve of technological evolution. The amount of compute power we can put into the system, the scientific ideas about how to make it more efficient and smarter, to give it the ability to do reasoning, to think about how to improve itself, that will all come. But my model for a long time, I think if you look at the world of AGI thinkers, there's sort of two, particularly around the safety issues you were talking about, there's two axes that matter. There's the what called short timelines or long timelines, to the first milestone of AGI, whatever that's going to be. Is that going to happen in a few years, a few decades, maybe even longer? Although at this point, most people are a few years, a few decades. And then there's takeoff speed. Once we get there, from there to that point you were talking about where it's capable of the rapid self-improvement, is that a slow or a fast process? The world that I think that we're in, and also the world that I think is the most controllable and the safest, is the short timelines and slow takeoff quadrant. And I think we're going to have, there were a lot of very smart people for a while who were like, the thing you were just talking about happens in a day or 3 days. And that doesn't seem likely to me given the shape of the technology as we understand it now. Now, even if that happens in a decade or 3 decades, it's still like the blink of an eye from a historical perspective. And there are going to be some real challenges to getting that right. And the decisions we make, the sort of safety systems and the checks that the world puts in place, how we think about global regulation or rules of the road from a safety perspective for those projects, it's super important because you can imagine many things going horribly wrong. But I feel cheerful about the progress the world is making towards taking this seriously. And, it reminds me of what I've read about the conversations that the world had right around the development of nuclear weapons.